What's up, stainless brainers? So, got this samurai project. It's been lingering in the back corner. That's my son's build, and it's at a point where I need to put some time into a bunch of welding on it and get going on the front forelink. Haven't had a lot of time to work on this project. We've been super busy doing other projects. So, finally have about 3 hours of available time, and after putting in a solid day at work building out all these tanks today, my bottle is super close to being out, and I got to put in a delivery order to get bottles, and I'm like, man, I'm still sitting at 550 on a 250 tank. Like, I think I can get about 3 hours out of that, and I could probably fully weld what we have built in this Samurai. So I figured that tonight's the perfect night. I'm gonna crank some Van Halen. Neighbors and I are gonna listen to it together, and let's get cracking on this thing. Well, that literally is not going to work. I was not thinking of one thing making this grill. And when we drew it, cut it all out, I'm like, yeah, it's perfect. It's narrow. Everything's cool. And I wanted the headlights kind of far apart. And then all of a sudden, literally as I'm just making the last modifications to start the front bumper, I went, what an idiot. The reason I made the top of this chassis narrow is for the tire to come all the way up over the hood. And I can't do that with a grill in the way. Literally, right there. This tire, when it goes through its range, I want it to be able to come up through this opening of the chassis right here. And I'm not moving the front axle farther back to clear it, and you can't move it farther forward to clear it because it literally is like in the center line of where that goes. So, plan B, I think, I'm gonna take the grill hanging on the wall. Maybe Tucker could put it in his room or something. I'm gonna go ahead and set the winch on the front, get our winch brackets built, get the winch bolted on, do the tube work in the front. Then after that is built, we'll see what we can do. We still want to keep this kind of Jeepish, round headlight look in the front, even though it's a Samurai. And by the way, we're gonna call this build Old Round Eye. So we got to keep that theme going. But yeah, it just happens sometimes. I mean, that's probably 4 hours of time that we won't get back on this project. Maybe I could cut it in the middle and take a section out of it and TIG weld it back up. So I'm not going to deem that grill a complete waste, but I just really wish I would have thought of that ahead of time. But when you got all these kind of projects going, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, and that's one of them. So anyway, let's get rid of the grill for a minute. Let's get the winch mounted next and get onto some tube work onto the front. And then maybe it'll talk to us. Maybe it'll say, hey, this is what I want. So let's get onto that stage. right, well, my couple hours of free time that I had turned into 2 days, and got a ton done. We have a chassis now from bumper to bumper. The roof bars are all in. Bumper in the front's done. Now I got a bunch more welding to do, which is awesome because I love to TIG weld. So in the beginning of this video, I had mentioned that this is my son's project. And it's kind of funny because right after I filmed that time lapse, I talked to him a little bit about it and said, hey, you know, what's going on? You want to work on that Samurai? And he was super honest. He said, it's too big of a project for me. So I put it up for sale, put it on social media for sale, had a bunch of people message me. I was working on the 1311 a little bit by myself, and I started thinking, I said, man, I really don't want to see this project go away, but I understand for a young kid, the point it was at when I started welding on it in this video, all the parts and pieces that have gone into it have been out of his pocket, and I've worked on it with him and his buddy. And I just kept thinking, I can't let it not get finished. So I said, hey, Samurai sold. And he's like, oh, really? And I could tell he was maybe, you know, I shouldn't say maybe, he was kind of bummed, but at the same time a little excited. And he goes, who bought it? I was like, I'm buying it. So it's still here. And now I'm going to take over the project 100%, but still be able to build it with him and his friends. And in the long run, he'll still get to learn. He still gets to drive it. He gets to have all the fun he wanted to have in it, but it'll get done a lot quicker. And maybe I bit off a little bit too much thinking that, hey, you know, he's 15, let's build a tube chassis rig. I don't know, but we're going to finish it together regardless. And we have the rest of the parts for the 4-link coming in. And I have spacers for some wheels and some adapters and some shock bolts and all this other stuff. So the next video we do on this thing will be a whole bunch of not knowing what we're doing, definitely not professionals, and we know enough to do it wrong and all that spiel. But we'll end it up here, and then we'll get cracking on the front suspension, and we'll try to document that the best we can. But super appreciate you guys following along. It's pretty cool to travel down this YouTube path of doing these videos. And I'm a fabricator by trade. I build stuff to go fast, and hopefully people, you know, enjoy that. And we will get back to some of the racing real soon. Just takes time. Appreciate it.